get started, and whatever latecomers join us, they'll have to kind of just jump in. All right, so in order to really be successful at any endeavor, no matter what it is, if you want to become an Olympic swimmer, or you want to, become a dancer, you want to become a musician, or you want to become some kind of a psychology professor, you want to become a doctor, anything, any endeavor takes some, anything we want, any goal we have, there's some endeavor, right? And in order to be able to make that endeavor, you actually have to believe that if I do this, it's going to do what? Ultimately, it's going to make me happy. It's going to give me some kind of sense of purpose, meaning in my life. It's going to, ultimately, everything we do because we want to be happy. Anybody have an issue with that? Even if it's totally that we're sacrificing our lives, if it maybe it's, but we do it because we think this is really what's going to make me happy. We have faith in it. We have faith in the thing that we're doing, so we can put a lot of endeavor into it. So one thing that I see often with devotees is that they don't really have a lot of faith in some of the practices, and that's why they don't put a lot of effort into it. And so that's what we're going to look at today, is kind of look at our own, be very honest, where are we as far as our own faith in the process of chanting Hare Krishna? Is it weak? Do we have tender faith that we're just kind of, my guru said that chanting Hare Krishna was good for me, and I made a vow that I was going to chant these rounds, but I really don't have a lot of faith that it's going to help me. So we're going to go through these, and you can, on each one of these statements, what I'd like you to do is, like on a scale of 1 being very little, hardly any faith in it, to 10 where you have really strong, fortified faith that yes, I strongly believe this statement. So the first one is, I believe that chanting Japa with focus and attention will help me control my mind and senses. So just rate that, and be as honest as you can.
Can I have a pen, please?
Yeah. Okay. And then we'll go to the next one. We'll go through all of these, and then we'll have a little discussion about them. The next one is that I believe that chanting Japa with focus and attention will take away my dark side. So that, our negative qualities, the things we don't like about ourselves, that we really believe that this chanting can eradicate that. Okay.
Can I ask? It's all right to ask now?
Sure. Yeah.
There's a difference between believing and doing.
Exactly. But this is just your faith in it.
Even if you don't really apply yourself, you do.
Yes,
believe.
you can
Okay.
totally believe. Yeah, because we're going to talk about the practices in the next section.
Okay.
Yeah, this is just really where your faith is.
All right.
Because some devotees have, stronger faith in it, and even though they're not practicing, than someone else who may not have very much faith in it. Okay, the next one is, I believe that chanting Japa with focus and attention will help me become the person I want to be. Some of these are probably questions or things you may not have considered so much with your Japa before. Okay, the next one is that I believe that chanting Japa with focus and attention will end my material suffering.
Just yes or no?
No, and it's from, well, we could say from 0 to 10. 0 being that you have absolutely no faith in the statement, 10 being that you have full, complete, realized faith, or you have very strong faith in that statement.
Probably wouldn't be in the Japa.
Okay, the next one is that I believe that chanting japa with focus and attention, I will lose my taste for material life. Do we have one from Mahara?
She's taking prasadam.
Okay. She can just listen.
She's auditing class.
She's auditing here. But anyway, we have... Okay. The next one is, I believe that chanting japa with focus and attention, I will become attracted to serving Radha and Krishna. Okay, and the last one on this is, I believe that chanting japa with focus and attention every day will bring me the highest happiness. So you can kind of look at your score, your numbers, and if you want to, you'd be, if you want to add them up and then divide by however many there are, you could do something like that to get a sense of, okay, I'm at a 7, that's above average, or I'm at a 2, Komo Shraddha, tender faith, and faith is what brings us to the path. And in the beginning of our journey, and some of you may have begun this journey many lifetimes ago, so you may be starting off with a lot of faith. You come into this process, and it's just, this is like totally makes sense to me. I have a lot of faith in the process, and you just take off running, like Swami says. He kind of took off running. And those of us who knew him in the early days saw that he was somebody who had such amazing, strong faith and chanting and following the orders of his guru and doing service. And it was he was really, for me personally, he was a really good example of somebody that would overcome his mind and senses to do a very difficult service of distributing books in the airport. And that was, just made such a strong impression on me, because it was so hard for me to go into the airport, and I would dilly-dally half the day and talk to the devotees. I would find every excuse I could to not have to approach one more person and have, try to, either have somebody be mean to me or something. It was like, and I spent, time in the bathroom just crying every day. This is how much I hated doing this service. So to see him was he was a great inspiration for me, and seeing his determination. So so some people come out running. But wherever we are, even if we just have a 1 or a 2, we have some faith, and faith is the beginning, and we want to put ourselves in an environment that's going to strengthen that faith. So we want to find people that have faith in the process of chanting, people who really, have a taste, and people who, we can have their association, because that's really what will help us more than anything. Of course, reading, there's many wonderful books, like each one of these things that you just rated yourself on. We can find a place like in the Shikshastakam that would support each one of these. And so in scripture everywhere it talks about how chanting japa or chanting Hare Krishna is key to being happy in this world. So if we have that faith, then we'll have more impetus for our practice. So we're going to go to that next section of our practice of japa and kind of look at, okay, how much are we applying? Like, we have strong faith, like Kamalini asked the question, well, what if you have strong faith but you're not acting on it? So here's where this would come out, that we have the faith, but for some reason or another I'm not applying it, and then we have to look at that. That would be where you would, we want, wherever you're at, we want to be able to intervene at that point and take you up to the next step of being able to make some improvement. Okay, so the first one again, you could 0 to 10, 0 being no, you don't have any, you're not doing this at all, to 10 being, yeah, I'm doing this all the time. So I chant japa at the most favorable time of the day. And this may be, for some people, this may be different. I mean, if you're working a job, or you're working night shift or something, and, so for you, the most favorable time isn't going to be, during the Brahma Muhurta hour. For you, it's going to be whatever for you is the time that you can be the most peaceful and you can be the most focused, so it's different for everybody, but you knowing that you're using the most favorable time of your day to put into this practice. Okay, so the next one would be, I chant japa in a sacred space. Now, we've talked a bit about that in our little japa workshops that we had done at Krishna Road Temple, of having a sacred space. And a sacred space, for those of you who may not have, maybe not familiar with this, is a space where you have no distractions. It's a very, sattvic environment, or transcendental environment. You have deities or pictures, and it's a place that you'll be the least interrupted in the household. Like, if you have children, that's going to be impossible, that there's no place that but you're going to try to make it a place that's going to, where the kids, maybe it's when they're sleeping, and you have a space that you don't have any electronic devices in, that you don't have a phone, you don't have things to distract you. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've seen devotees chanting and, looking at their phones. I mean, this has really become a problem that that we didn't have these problems when I joined. I mean, we had other things, like sometimes I would find myself dusting or something while I was going around chanting, or, stirring a pot of sweet rice, or, but now there's just, it's unlimited what you can do while you're chanting this. It's so-called multitasking japa. And it's really not possible to multitask japa. Your body can multitask, but the mind can't. The mind can only focus on one thing at a time, right? Jim's going, yes. He's like, he knows this.
That's exactly true.
That's exactly
Just
true.
goes back and forth.
Yeah. It goes back and forth very quickly. So there is no such thing as being a multitasking japa. You're doing one thing or another. And so when you're driving, you're not, you're either hearing the name or you're looking at the road. You can't do both at the
Can't
same
sleep
time.
and chat at the same time.
You might be able to attest to the possibility of that, if anybody could. Shamarupa.
Shouldn't that chanting be just considered extra credit, not towards like your
Yes,
rounds?
yes,
Like, you just want
absolutely.
to chant while
Yes.
you're doing other stuff instead of singing or something?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, the last time my husband was chanting and driving, can I say?
I don't mind. I'm supporting the economy.
The last time it happened was just about 3 weeks ago. It wasn't very long ago. He got a speeding ticket, and because he said, he's been really doing good, because he had gotten a speeding ticket not too long ago, and so he's really been paying attention. But that's the thing. So you really can't, if you're going to do that, like he said, I wasn't paying attention. So something's going to go. Either your job is going to suffer or you're going to get, in an accident or get a speeding ticket. So good. Thank you for doing that. That's the whole, out of your magnanimity, he did that. So I would have an example to use in our workshop today. Okay, so while chanting, I try to constantly bring the mind back when it wanders. So, did you already do all yours going on?
No.
No, you're thinking about that one?
No, I just did it ahead.
Oh, you did it ahead. That's what I was asking you.
Sometimes it feels like that's all I do is constantly bring myself back.
That's great. That's great because a lot of people, they don't bring it back at all. They just let it wander. And I've heard devotees say, yeah, this is like the time and I get all my ideas for whatever, they just let it go, it puts me in an alpha state and I can really, just think of all kinds of things. And so that's how their japa has become. It's like, they just it's background music. And yes, John.
I get almost entranced. I catch myself yawning a lot, and I really hate that. I have to start over again if I yawn. I don't count that one.
Well, it's actually one of the ecstatic symptoms, yawning.
Oh, I get it so much, so I don't count those because I feel like if I'm yawning, how can I be thinking about
Yeah. If you're yawning, and you're yawning because you're tired, you might need to take a nap.
No, it's every time I chant, I yawn, and I try to do a special breathing thing. I think maybe I'm not getting enough oxygen because I'm chanting out too much and not taking enough air in, and it makes me yawn and sleepy. But I don't know. It's just no matter what time of the day or what time, I'm chanting. I start to yawn after really,
often.
Yeah, every time on it.
Once around. One time,
at least once or twice around, and I yawn. At least once or twice.
I do that too, but I am tired.
We'll have to do an Enneagram on everybody to see who the 9s are because that's a very 9 trait in the Enneagrams. Gordon Ryan's laughing because he's a 9. My husband's a 9.
It's an anagram. It's a personality.
It's a personality. It's a system of personality.
Kind of way to understand.
So here, Damodar has joined us. We'll give him a sheet. Do we have any more sheets?
Yeah, they're all right here.
Okay, so then he can sort of see what we're doing here.
Got a pen for him?
Now, whenever I did workshops in New Vrindavan, Damodar would always come in around the middle and kind of scope it out. And then he would tell me later on, to give me he would give me his feedback, very helpful feedback. Yeah, he's very honest, he's cut to the chase,
And you all may know that Damodar is the devotee who has recorded Chaitanya Bhagavat and Chaitanya Charitamrita. If you've heard those readings, that's him.
Haribol! Yes.
And Kunti prayers.
Yeah, and prayers and things.
Online.
Very nice.
He has a wonderful reading voice,
Yeah.
a wonderful speaking voice to MC.
Wow,
What else?
And there's more to come.
Good.
Oh, right.
And actually,
Sorry.
I've been working on a project since last July to put all of Prabhupada's books on the internet for free.
You mean purports too? Or
Is this going to be reading out loud?
Just narration.
Nice.
Some are just verses only, and some are verses and purports.
Excellent. Thank you for that service. That's a wonderful, wonderful service.
yes.
Okay, so we are at, while chanting, I try to constantly we're just kind of rating these things where we stand on them, kind of get an idea of where we are to, our baseline for our chanting. While chanting, the next one is, while I am steady at chanting my prescribed number of rounds. So that was the next one for our practice. And everybody, you may not have the same number prescribed round, but whatever yours is, that you're steady at that. And while chanting my prescribed number of rounds, I diligently avoid multitasking. Now, we talked a little bit about the multitasking. So that's staying in your sacred space, and as much as possible, some devotees have to walk because they have a problem falling asleep. So that's So you do that, but within your walking, you try to keep the mind focused. But best if you can, for even if it's just a few mantras, to be able to sit, or sit in a chair, sit in a cushion, and sit up straight, your back straight, and taking deep breaths, and being able to chant really, like with that kind of focus is very helpful to practice that. Okay, and the last one, every day I work towards improving the quality of my japa. So a lot of times after we've been devotees for some years, I've heard devotees say things like, oh yeah, I gave up on trying to hear my japa, actually hear my rounds years ago, It's like, I gave up on it. So
Impossible.
yeah, like it's just not possible to actually be able to focus and really hear. So I don't even try anymore. Okay, so what we're going to do now for a few minutes is like get in little groups of like say 3 or 4, and we're going to you guys are going to brainstorm ways that you can improve your japa. What, something practical that you personally feel, looking at your practice of japa and even your faith, what small step could you make towards going one step further, improving? Okay, so why don't you guys here, this little group here, and then am I joining Jim and my husband? Why don't you guys right here? Gordon, I want you to come over here with Rod and I just oh, you guys, we shouldn't have made you move. This is the 9. The top of the Enneagram. It's the king of the Enneagram is the 9. Peaceful.
So, well, we rate ourselves 1 to 10, or 0 to 10. 1 is like the most, 10 is smaller things.
I think she already took care of it.
Even if you don't, take
For me, it's
and then also,
I never entered my mind this way. I mean, I was cleansing my heart. That's like,
other times.
and I never once thought of
yeah, it's just like, no,
so I looked at it and thought, well,
so anyway, it's like all of
also,
the practice right there, and then there's the
when I'm actually chanting it,
but
I found out where we had my blind spots are, and then the third one was 3.
Unless I'm really busy.
Chanting japa focus and
Anybody else need it?
But for the most
I'm
part,
not even sure.
so you live here? Oh, right. Oh, you're together. That's right. Oh,
Somebody be a scribe for your group.
that's been kind of the issue for my roommate.
It doesn't distract you.
yeah.
Yeah, that's true. So that's I bet handwriting too.
It's just those 3. Take away I would love to say that, just end my material suffering and become more attracted to serving others.
Before the showers and brushing
I
and
mean, I'm very aware that there's serving
Then that was
You said you had ice cream and latte. I really love
My thing is,
Oh, Gopal. I thought you meant latte. What Gopal is. And that you did, I thought you said, we have ice cream and lattes.
When I read that,
Just
anytime they
take care of themselves.
How does it taste? Or go in a room with no wind. They would do something.
even if there are people there.
So anyway, how about you, Dominic? You have
Relatively quiet is fine with that too. But I need a blindfold myself because that's business. And what I do, I have to remove the blindfold.
Well, no.
My Japa is where I want it to be. If I don't get to that stage, then my Japa is.
What about the shutting your eyes? You can't. No, it doesn't work.
It does work. It does work, but
You open them, yeah.
just a little, and then a little more, and then they're open.
So,
Call you, or,
we have
oh, I
the
forgot
best.
this.
I bet the best that I've ever seen. You know,
Exactly.
that is my thing. Like
As long as I can keep my
and
blindfold
not
on my eyes,
like she
then
said,
I feel like
not
myself.
necessarily. They have only 1 hour.
Exactly where I
5 to 6. And the morning program is open.
finding that
And that's my thing.
It's just never
There's about 10
doesn't
of
make
those.
sense.
At least 6
It's just
of those.
they're
Now that I
Just
think about it,
can't stop. And we're very respectful, especially, you know, she's like,
I'm not neither am I thinking of anyone besides
she's got
don't
this
want to
look.
give that eye. She sits right in a chair. And generally we all honor that. We don't talk.
Yeah, I didn't know.
And I stay till like,
And then the last one,
but now I teach at the school, so I just have to leave at 9. But even like most I was traveling around at midnight or something, which I try not to. And I'll go there anytime. Like say, even if it's 10 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, we have a coach open even if the curtains are
But it could take 20 years.
and just in that space, because I think all of our temples, except that when we get a lot of guests, we feel but when there's not, they're all safe and
And
space.
each side's only temporarily
Surcharge, chanting, here, right, just chanting. So and like to say,
so we'll see them.
but I have a very hard time at home making
Ananda.
safe. Because home is the home place.
Yeah,
And
well,
like, come on. But you know, like
where I
driving, I find a lot of times.
where I am, that's where I am. And I'm all there, as far as I know.
But when you're home, it's like, oh boy, I have to do this.
Yeah, I
have to do
had
that. But in the car, okay, there's nothing else to do. That part. And especially if you're not in the city. Where I live, it's not a city. Where he lives, it's really not a city. And you know, it's to me what they said.
See, that is, see if that one works.
Not good.
So you're essentially saying
I know.
that driving a motor vehicle and watching for traffic is not both and chanting at the same time.
Priority
No,
going
but I'm saying for me, it's less than calling. And
For a while, it's just like, oh, I gotta take care of that.
Let me
laundry.
just-
If I just do these dishes real quick, I can get the dishwasher done. That way it'll be done before I start having dinner. Okay, well,
having
she's
everything
this is that was a
tragically knowing what the action
And especially with
having my
children.
life planned more effectively.
I said I've never.
So that there's
First time ever. It's not done. So, but I know that.
But the thoughts that come in of things I need to do.
Because we now have voicemail. And
These are all ways
check
of so many different things going on.
it later.
So
But
yeah,
you know,
there's more of a
like
plan
she
like
said,
that.
now especially in that art temple, they all
Told me,
everyone
but
has
she
to
didn't tell me about
to
something,
them.
and I got surprised.
And it's too. And for me, as a teacher, if it's early in the morning, the parents are saying, you know, my child's not sick. So I
Why
have
don't
to send
you
to
just
those,
tell me?
but otherwise not. If it's a phone number,
I could say that
it's not one of those, then I will.
Where we can see what each other is doing and we know ahead of time.
Anyway, I think that's engaging
The world on the surprises. You know, there's less to worry
So
about.
maybe,
So
yes.
then that means you wander.
Oh,
There,
yeah.
it's working.
If I watch it,
really bad.
if I
I
watch
know, but you know, I once
I would say,
right, last year in Toronto, I won the rock team.
before I
said,
had
what
her
are you making on your
married her,
phone?
I was like,
I was
my
texting
immediate thing was like,
electric to something. You know, so it's kind of things. Or they're taking notes. Now they take notes electronically. But still, it is distracting.
I like to take my recorder.
I mean, it's a while.
This is all stuff I take more.
Something like that.
I feel like
When the mood strikes me, I do.
Coffee's almost
There was you get little
Yeah, that's
things in your
why
head, you
at
get
my
stuck, and that's why I don't rush the radio. I don't want
is
some
so
other
difficult.
mantra,
But
some
Sunday
other
feast,
book
100 times easier.
in my head.
Because here's our Bhagavatam class. First of all, you were saying way back.
Yeah, so okay, so
Way back.
number one, that's the thing.
Every single person, all the ladies are, and I do the same because it keeps you moving. You know, they're sewing, making garlands. Everyone's
That's what I
looking
struggle with
no
too,
idea.
especially on days where I travel,
And then
because some days
when
it's 15 hours of work.
You know,
And so if I'm waking up
really
at
sad
4 morning, that means I
So that's very
get
nice
2
what
hours.
you do. And you know, the notice, the older the devotee is,
So it's harder on days where I'm dreadlocked.
and the more
Much so.
and
I don't know how to fix that.
Like if someone tells
Where I
you,
struggle the most.
How many people need more time?
We probably have to find an alternative.
Raise your hand if you're doing it.
Like a roast.
2 more minutes.
I know. It is gross. But if you observe, mostly in the back
No.
side.
All right,
I'm gonna write this down. So
next program I go to. If you've ever had these bhakti fests,
Not yet.
Krishna Das and Japa,
Yeah, I
all
went.
those guys come. And they sometimes do have
Yeah, I went to
Lines
one.
come from way out.
If you've ever been to a lecture, one of those festivals,
I have people
I mean,
come
not
back
only are people talking,
up from
but
Key
also
West,
giving each other massages.
Yeah, right.
We're in the shower.
Yeah, like,
Wake
you
me up
know,
when the music
big,
starts again.
big yoga teacher, what's her name, like,
The
she's there, and she just taking
and it helps to support the song various.
I just
Because whenever I'm in dreadlock, I'm crazy.
So we're not that.
I haven't thought about it because that's not my.
Yeah, it's
not gonna
rate it. I'm
I told Krishna that if he made my dreadlock, if my dreadlock became
Go around
successful and to regulate
Can you,
that,
I guess I don't have my shoes. Okay, you're going now, just wanted to see if I needed anything.
and it was like Krishna's like, oh really?
Okay, 1 more minute, guys. 1 more minute.
Okay, 1 more minute? I'm sorry.
Okay, let's go.
What else? What else can we do? So what about that health practice? We're gonna try it. I just feel good when I'm doing it. Like that.
I mean, I do like when I'm doing the dreadlock, I'm doing it.
Like I feel good.
I'm not chanting every
But
We are talking about improving the
that I'm actually trying to say to let God
I guess it means these
quality.
Yeah.
We're talking about and then talking about one word. It's like trying to write without you can hear.
may or may not be.
That's the only
So that's areas of improvement.
Yeah.
Improving,
one word that
chanting,
I don't think
improving favorable kind of, all these things are, I guess, listed as
there is a sense of self-fulfillment. I know how it makes me feel. So that's why we like the idea of one. It's a nice feeling.
Okay,
It's a really nice
just
That would be helpful, actually, more than I can express.
okay. We're going to come and share with the group the things that each group came up with, and if you hear something from another group that you say, wow, yeah, I like that, write it down for yourself. Okay, we're going to start with this group over here. Who wants to be the spokesperson for a group over here? Okay, I know, and I know Bhakti Lata doesn't need a microphone.
So,
I'm joking.
I know that's not characteristic of me. Going to bed earlier, to therefore get up earlier. Covering your eyes using earplugs to block everything out except for the chanting. That would actually make your chanting louder.
It does.
It does.
Yeah, definitely.
You don't
Thinking
hear
about
other people.
that.
You only hear dogs barking.
Mine doesn't bark, so that's good. She actually lays down with me when I chant.
Okay.
It's cool. Having a more regulated schedule during the daytime for all of your activities, so that way you can fit your japa in at a prescribed time. And having a japa buddy.
Okay, excellent. Let's give group number 1 a hand. There we go. Okay, let's go with group number. You were in.
I was back there.
You're in that group, so you want to. Who did this? Who was the scribe?
We were just kind of like.
Kind of. You're supposed to be a good example for everyone. You're supposed to come here and support me, and here you are. I tell you, you know, these
Talking about
husbands.
chanting, we're talking about what people do. We needed more time to like. We were
To
just,
warm up. They were just getting warmed up. Okay, so now that is there one thing that you could say that would be
we talked about manasa japa, soft japa, and loud japa, and how for controlling the mind, there's a lot of devotees in this sangha they chant the mind, and it's actually very advanced. And Prabhupada, because we were all crazy, we used to chant pretty loud. Prabhupada's godbrother laughed at us because we were like, you know, generally it's chanted very softly, just so you can hear it. And a lot of us, we were like screaming at the top of our lungs.
yes, I can attest to the time that the temple president came up to me during Japa and told me I needed to go outside because I was causing such a disturbance. That was fine. I mean, because I had a very, very crazy mind, and so I chanted very loudly. And so that was good. I realized that it was a and then I found that I could chant in a corner in the temple, and I would have the acoustics of the two walls, and that helped me. And then I found that if I stuck my finger like this in one ear, then I wouldn't have. So I was able over
What was
these.
the Swami's name that did a japa and they put buckets on their head?
Oh yeah, this was Purnachandra Maharaj, who left his body. He was telling us that when it's so loud on the buses, the Radha Damodar party that was going out and distributing books, and so he discovered that if he put a bucket over his head, and I guess it was a metal bucket, that he could really hear his japa. So it became pretty soon the whole bus had all the devotees had buckets on their heads. So you can imagine the people driving by seeing Radha Damodar, and these bucket heads. I mean, we did some. Yeah, we had some interesting reputation. Probably well-deserved crazy reputation from the early days. Yes, so thank you for that.
In terms of the vibration, sometimes I just hold my fingers to my throat with the voice boxes.
Okay.
Because it is sound vibration, and it's really, I have a kind of low voice, and I can shout, but it's very soothing. It's actually it's like it keeps me in too. Like I'm not transcendental.
I didn't hear what you said.
It's soothing to
Hold
her hand on yours right here.
And sometimes I can I feel that when your japa is carrying you up, lifting you up, and it also keeps me grounded at the same time. It's a very soothing experience.
Yeah, so it's nice for people to hear. These are all things that we can kind of experiment with, and that's the whole thing, is finding what works for you, because it's not one size fits all here. I mean, there's definitely things that I can say that are helpful, but if you're, I would say, sitting in one place, but for a person that falls asleep very easily, that's not the best thing. So you're standing up, so, but then trying to stand in one place. But if that doesn't work, then to take, to walk back and forth, but not in a way that you're sightseeing while you're doing it, going out and looking at everything. And so it's something each one of you has to work on for, that's very individual. So Jim, did you have something you wanted to add to that? None of my anything? Okay. Okay, you guys get a.
See?
No, you get a round of applause for trying.
You see her face like that? So beautiful.
Okay, good try, guys.
We're just a little crazy here in North Carolina.
Sometimes.
Okay, let's go to this group back here.
Okay. He's gonna be our spokesman.
Okay. Sacred place is one we all kind of said we needed to work on in our home.
Okay.
Separate space.
Setting up a sacred space.
Making sure we don't multitask.
Okay, making sure you don't multitask. How are you going to do that?
They watch each other.
Because it's a bad habit to break if you've been doing it.
Sacred space, you know. I told them I spend in the morning at the temple, and that's the best for me, sacred space. But then at home is when, you know, I just there's so much to do, and it's so easy. Just hold the beads and do things with one hand, put away the dishes, take the laundry out. But we talked about how we're just gonna have a sacred space wherever we are, and not multitask and sit down and do it. And what else did we talk about? And we talked about becoming steady in our prescribed number of rounds. Not one of us got a 10 on that, so we're all gonna
Try to be steady enough.
At least make them up if we do fall behind.
Okay. All right. Let's give a good round of applause to this group for their contribution. Okay. We got this. You guys, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Who wants to be the spokesperson?
I'm the spokesperson.
You be the spokesperson, Radha.
Okay. So you got my back?
Okay.
So we were kind of going back to,
Can everyone hear her?
okay. So we were kind of going back to that top part about the faith and efficacy of Japa, and we were just kind of talking about, just a few of them. Like, I believe that chanting Japa with focus and attention will take away my dark side, and I believe that Japa with focus and attention will end my material suffering, and then I believe that Japa, chanting Japa with focus and attention, I will be attracted to serving Radha and Krishna. We just kind of talked about these, and just kind of how that, I don't know. I mean, when I first heard it, I thought about the first Shikshasana verse and how it's really like a process of, cleansing, and it's like we're cleansing the chitta, and we're making advancement that way. And some other things that we talked about.
Did you come up with some ways to improve your Japa? Something that would be helpful? Something practical? This was a very philosophical discussion here.
I'm sorry. Well, we talked about practical things too when you came in our group, and I'm like trying to remember which sounds
But that
terrible.
was it, to understand more.
So maybe
It's like there were 7, right? And there were those 3 were the ones that I hadn't even been conscious of.
So maybe we could say the practical application of this would be to read Shikshastakam or chant the Shikshastakam every day, and read the translation, because within that is all these things that is in that first part, to build your faith, to strengthen your faith in the chanting. So that would be one practical thing. Anything else practical? Going to Ryan, what's one practical thing that you could do to help your Japa? Not multitask. Okay. Does that mean staying away from a computer? Staying 2,000 feet away from a computer?
I don't really struggle with that.
No, don't struggle with that. What's your multitask? Oh, you don't multitask. That's not yours. So you were just coming up with something because you hadn't come up with anything. All right, we'll give her. They didn't do the assignment. She thought of something.
It's just I've been going at this in a really mono-focused way when I practice japa, and I enjoy. I do the work because I do this. It's circular. I have to do it, and when I'm doing this, I enjoy it, which makes it so much more embraceable to return to.
Nice. So you're getting an experience with their chanting. It sounds like.
And what in the end, I think it's that idea that it's cleansing the heart is an aspect. I was just like living and breathing and cleansing my heart. It's like I didn't think like there's a list or to understand that it's eliminating patterns. I don't even know what's gone now. I just know that I've been. This is so open. You opened up the text in a way that I never thought about dark humor, thoughts, or whatever, or not suffering. That wasn't it. I mean, that was not why I was chanting. Like my own approach to it.
Yeah. I mean, so you were actually chanting and getting an experience, and that was fortifying you. So yes, Ananda, go.
What always stuck with me was that you chant to realize Krishna.
That's right.
What other reason is there for chanting? So when I come across these things, I'm like, yeah, I believe it's possible if I'm following the process, and this is part of the process prescribed, but I'm not really thinking, okay, if I do this causally, this is going to happen, because to me it doesn't follow it's like Krishna's in control of it all. I'm just hoping that I'm more and more attracted to doing the things that the devotees are telling me will help me realize Krishna. All this other stuff is like, it's almost like getting bogged down in the drama of causality, because if you're caught in it, you're just going to keep thinking, well, when am I going to finally get there? And you're going to become neurotic or depressed.
Well, I think that the goal is to love Radha and Krishna. That's the goal. And there are signposts along the way pointing in the direction that you are going in the right direction. And the first thing is, the first installment of chanting is Chaito Darpana Marjanam, the cleansing of the heart. We should notice that unwanted things are going from our heart. We should notice that there is things that used to be a problem for me, that aren't anymore. They're gone. I used to have an attraction to, whatever, coffee, chocolate, ice cream, and now I just eat strawberry and vanilla, I don't know, I'm just ridiculous, but I had a lot of addictions when I became a devotee, and it was very problematic. I mean, one of the reasons that I became a devotee was I was just suffering so much from being enslaved by my senses. My senses were like wild horses just taking me everywhere. And I didn't want to be a slave to my senses anymore. And I remember just after having an ice cream orgy one day in my dorm room, and it was like, my half-gallon of ice cream orgy that I would have like once a week or something, my binging. It was a big problem for me. I had these binging things, and after the first couple bites, your tongue gets numb. You don't even taste it anymore. Frozen tongue. There's no pleasure anymore. But just the desire to experience some kind of pleasure, just driving you to think that, well, I had an experience after that first bite, but I'm going to keep trying to get it, even though my tongue is frozen and I'm sick to my stomach. It made no sense, but that. I didn't know anything else, I was just driven by my senses. And so I broke down in my dorm room, and I wrote a poem about it. I wish I still had it, called The Ice Cream Orgy. And I actually just prayed, God, I don't know, I had faith in God. I didn't really know much about him, but wherever you are, please help me. I'm just like, I'm drowning in this world. This is like awful. I'm so sick and tired of just, being a slave to my senses. And that was very shortly after that I came in contact with the devotees, and my life began to change significantly. didn't happen overnight. I mean, when I became a devotee, yeah, I stopped binging on ice cream and was binging on maha sweets. And yeah, I was a Sankirtan devotee, so they used to give us all the milk sweets, the pear and the burfi and the, sandesh. They'd send us out on Sankirtan with that. Plus, we used to make these Simply Wonderfuls, which is just powdered sugar and powdered milk.
So delicious.
We would make those for distribution every night, and we would package them up, and I would eat half of them during the day. It was my drug of choice. So it took me some years to overcome all that, but it's gone now. I mean, I think back to it, seems like, yeah, how did that happen? And it just, by the process is so powerful, and from the chanting. So these things really do, and we're to look in our life and see how, okay, my senses have gotten a lot more controlled, and a lot of dark things in my heart have gone. I can't say they're all gone, but it certainly I've come a long way, and so I know I've made this much progress. If I keep up with this for another 40 years, I'm going to be that much further along, So it is helping me become the person I want to be, because when the conditioning, our conditioning goes, all this, just stimulus response for just lifetimes, we just are acting on scripts, it's like having bad software, when that gets, taken out and you start to, the real you emerges, then it's beautiful, it's wonderful, and we should be having some experience of that, even if it's just little things. So anyway, I wanted to just give one more. Yes.
Sorry. You had mentioned chanting the Shikshastakam every day, and I just wanted to add that Guru Maharaj instructs us in the end of his book to chant the Shikshastakam
Every day. So see, it's definitely prescribed, and very beautiful, powerful prayers, and will help us remember, why am I doing this? Why am I chanting? So we don't have much. This is only supposed to be an hour, but I did want to just introduce something that I have found, and I just feel like it's helped me a lot with my japa, and I just want to introduce it as something for you to experiment and try. Prabhupada gave us some insight into how to chant. Does anybody know what it was?
Like a child for his mother.
Yes, like a child crying for his mother. I've thought a lot about this because, like, if you look at it, I'm thinking a child, like a 2-year-old, and if you've ever seen a 2-year-old whose mother's not there and they're distressed about it, they can cry for hours. Isn't it true? How many of you are mothers or fathers or have taken care of a child that, have you ever seen this? I want my mother. I want my mother. I want my mother. Hours, literally hours, and nothing will distract them. I mean, it's a yoga. It's an actual yoga. It's seriously. I mean, these kids are like fixed. I mean, if we could have that much focus and attention on our japa, I mean, for 2 hours. I mean, this has really helped me. Like, thinking about this example, it's like a 2-year-old can do it. They can cry for their mother for 2 hours. So why can't I cry for Krishna for 2 hours? Why can't I do that? And so I have been practicing crying for Krishna like that. I want Krishna! No, so chanting, I mean, you have to, and this is why it's hard to do, to do it real softly. I mean, you can do it kind of softly, but, there's got to be some feeling in it. And that's what really keeps your mind engaged, is when you're engaging the emotional aspect of yourself, you will begin to really be there with it. And so when my mind starts to wander, I go back to that 2-year-old, just thinking of them crying for the mother. And one other thing that I was thinking, I was originally going to do this in 2 sessions, but I'm just doing it today. would be to have you like write down, you know, like before you start chanting japa in the morning, some morning when you have take some time just to write down, you know, all the things that you would cry to Krishna for, you know, all the things in your life that are, and just put them down on paper, because otherwise you're going to be thinking about these things all through your japa, right? It's and all the things we worry about and the things that, you know, our desires. Those are all the things that kind of pop up while we're chanting. So just write them down and put them at the feet of your picture of your deity, or picture, or if you have deities, and put it at their feet and say, okay, Krishna, you're in charge of this. I am like totally, you know, like the first step of, what is the first step of the 12 steps that I'm, what is it?
You admit you're powerless.
You admit you're powerless, and you just like, my life is out of control kind of thing. Isn't that kind of like, so really just like coming to that point of, you know, all this mental gymnastic that go on during chanting are really about us trying to be the controller and trying to like, you know, it's like I have to like be the one in charge of everything, you know, and so we're putting it all at Krishna's feet, and our business is just to cry to Krishna, and he will take care of everything. The more that we really get into that mood of, you know, this is really my only business, is to cry for Krishna, and the more that we can really hear and focus on the name, we'll see amazing results very quickly. Amazing results.
My sister-in-law said that when she doesn't chant Hare Krishna, but she chants a whole multitude of other things. That when her mind wanders, she's found it to be a very bad problem for her. So she got a notebook, and every morning before she chants, she sits down and she writes 3 pages stream of consciousness. Just whatever comes up, and she's noticed that her chanting is now
Perfect. Yeah, same idea. Like, just put it down, get it out of, and just turn it over to Krishna, and then it'll be easier for you to cry for your 2 hours, or for your hour, or your however long you chant. And it's powerful, because the whole I think that a lot of devotees struggle with their japa because they're not making emotional connection to the name, and it's a relationship. This is a relationship. Radha, you know, we're calling out to Radha and Krishna. Hare is the name for Radha. Krishna is the name for Krishna. Rama is the name for Krishna. Or it could be, you're very attached to Krishna and Balaram. It can be Krishna and Balaram when you chant, you know, Hare Ram, you know. But you're calling out to personalities that we want to have a relationship with. And just like that child that's calling out, I want my mother, very attached, and that's just increasing the attachment. So we want to increase our attachment by crying out to Krishna. And even if it's like we start off, I'm crying because I have no feeling for this. I'm crying because I don't feel anything for this, for the holy name. That's something to cry about. So start from wherever you're at. So you guys want to chant a round of japa together, crying japa?
More
Yes.
questions, no?
More questions? You want more questions? What do you guys want to do? You want to chant crying japa, or you want to take some questions for our last? Or do you want to do both? Take both. Okay.
well, what's going on in the tent?
Is there anyone that needs to leave right away, or can we go a few minutes over? Okay. Nobody's got to walk at 3:30. They got to go on, or.
Is there a seminar after this?
I don't.
Sumati is teaching how to make silk flower garlands for little deities. I think up
Oh,
there.
and
then someone else is teaching an instrument. Oh, it's
You doing Madonna? Is that on at 3:30?
he's
Where's
teaching
that?
harmonium.
Yeah.
I thought that was
Yeah.
after this. And then someone was teaching
Mitra was doing
Mridanga.
Mridanga.
Mitra,
maybe it was
now at 3:30?
Oh, where am I supposed to be?
I don't know.
okay. So
But
I'm
you're
cutting
teaching.
in. I'm
Okay.
cutting into
Here,
somebody
it's-
else's
All right.
time.
We
Here,
could
Well,
always, if those people
we
that want
could-
to
you
stay
gotta
and chant,
round
we
up
could
some
just
people,
kind
I guess.
Yeah. So what do you guys want to do? I don't want to cut into someone else's
ahead.
time.
Who has questions?
I don't know. Doesn't everybody?
You should ask your questions because you're not
All
gonna
right.
get a
So
chance
listen,
to.
you know, like this is a great list to review every day, but like you talked about that emotional connection,
and how we should cry if we don't have it, because I feel so embarrassed to admit that I don't. I'm so ashamed and so embarrassed, and I think I'll just pretend anyway that, I just keep chanting even though it's not there. But anyway, that was good advice, to be conscious of crying, right? Like that. Oh yeah, and then this one. How about this one? Believe that chanting japa with focus and attention will end my material suffering.
Kleshagni Shubhara Moksha.
Because I always think, wow, I'm really in for more suffering. If I surrender more, then Krishna's gonna tighten. Like we'll get the mercy of more suffering, like test. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of afraid to surrender too much, because I'll suffer even more. But that's
Well, there is, that it's that verse, the Kleshagni, that means, that's again one of the first installments of chanting, is that your material suffering comes to an end. And what does that mean? That you don't have problems in your life? No, but it means that, I think there's a difference between, pain and suffering. Like, you don't suffer anymore. Things may happen, difficult situations, but you don't, because of the attachment. You're becoming more detached from, the things of this world and the body and all the things that really do cause. I mean, that's what suffering comes from. It's attachment. Like Swami was saying, it's the womb from which attachment is the womb of that suffering is born from.
Yeah, and you were talking about, like, if we stop and notice how many anarthas we have given up without even being conscious. Sometimes I think suffering, we kind of take it for granted, how much we're not suffering.
Yes.
That we would have been had we not been taking up the process.
Yeah, very good.
And like one thing, like you see advertisements, they always say, be the envy of your friends. And you think, oh my God, like that mentality where you want to dress and have something so your friends who you love will be envious of you. Like they want that.
Yeah.
And you think,
yeah.
that is suffering.
Yeah.
Like how much we're free of that kind of, suffering that comes from these qualities.
Exactly. Really nice. Really nice. Really nice.
We take for granted sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly right. It's good to be introspective and to, go over these things and see the progress that we've made. Prabhupada said it's kind of like when you take off in an airplane. It's so gradual sometimes that you don't notice that you're up off the ground. And so then it may take, like going up and looking out the window and saying, wow, I'm really up, we've come a long way from when we started. So, and that gives more impetus to keep going. Yeah, like, okay, these things are gone, so these other things that are really distressing me now, they'll go too. I think it was it Bhaktivinoda Thakur that said that material desires are like moss, they're not rooted.
No, it's Shri Nrsimha.
Well, that was Shri Nrsimha. Yeah,
well, he said mushrooms too, didn't he?
I think it's used the word moss because it's just not rooted. Material desires, they're not deeply rooted. Whereas Vaishnava aparad, that's something that can be deeply rooted, and that's more of a problem, much more of a problem than material attractions. They can go. Krishna can take them away very easily. If we start to do this trying japa, I guarantee you these things will go. They'll be finished, done.
Good association.
Good association, absolutely.
Stress that when I associated,
absolutely.
And now that seems to be like exclusive. All my associations is with devotees. Every now and then I'm pulled out for some family event, and I went to a book club. My daughter has been a member of all her friends. And they've been reading books for years together, and I was always such an avid reader and couldn't make it because I was teaching. And then I'm not teaching, and I went to the book club. Boy,
dry, huh?
Oh,
so dry.
Really,
yeah.
It felt sorted. Actually, it was just way gone. You know, everybody was eating meat and drinking and
Good
wine
things in
and
life.
talking about bad books. You know, like it was not healthy. I mean, I just thought, oh my gosh. I went with T-lock on. I was thinking, I wonder if they're going to say anything because it was evening, you know, and I came from a class, the one at the temple on Wednesday night, and maybe that, you know, that maybe
So the contrast.
they didn't even. It was as if I, you know, like I thought, well, this will be an opportunity. And if they ask me why I'm wearing it, they shouldn't even ask. It was like I don't think they even saw it. I mean, really, they were so in a zone. But it was kind of it shook me up because that would have been standard fare for me a few years ago. Absolutely standard fare. I wouldn't have.
Yeah, but that's an example to see, to really to see. Yeah, I've changed, and my consciousness has changed.
You made me think of something.
I don't know if everybody can hear you. You're very soft-spoken.
It seems like it's important to think about what the material desires are and what the byproducts of the material desires are. So it just occurred to me. I was like, how you can be envious? That's easy to see how that's materially oriented, but enmity, which is really at the heart of Vaishnava Aparad, doesn't seem to be a desire. It seems to be a byproduct of the other desires interplaying, and then voila, all of a sudden you're in a position that you don't even know how to take yourself out of. The only way that you can get out of it is through the mercy of the devotees. You're lost at that point. You've just fallen off a well. It's the first time I ever thought of it that way. I wondered if that makes sense, but I think that chanting japa with the right intention and regulated as you're describing would have to help with that.
Well, I was just going to say that, you know, in the 10 offenses of the holy name, inattention is the root cause of all the other offenses. So yeah, if you're really trying to chant with focus and attention, that's why I emphasized in each one of these, focus and attention, focus and attention. This is going to protect you from the aparads, and Vaishnava aparad being the most dangerous for us. So yes.
I was just going to say that what came to me lately was before I pick up my beads, I mean, there are some prayers that are out there that you can say before chanting, but one thing I thought was to really deeply reflect on what's being given, like just the whole, I mean, I guess, you know, I kind of have to change things a lot because to do something the same every day it gets worn out for me, but like just that, you know, here it is, God came down himself as a devotee to show us, and he's showing us by giving this easy process, just something to really center yourself about what you're actually approaching when you pick up your beads and start to say the holy name, because for me it's just so easy to get so mechanical, just, you know, okay, it's pick up the beads and start chanting, and so
yeah, really excellent point. That things can become more and more mechanical, and even if you're saying prayers, the prayers can get mechanical before you say. So yeah, sometimes it's good to change the prayers, and you know, have like you guys said, a japa buddy, and you know, just trying different things. You know, trying japa for a while. Maybe after, you know, you do that for a while, and you'll find, oh, now this is, my crying's getting rote, so I have to do something else. And you know, it's just, you know, to just always be kind of looking and seeing how you know, each day we should really look and say, what kind of japa did I have today? You know, was this kind of japa that. And another thing that you can do too is I have some of the devotees I work with in counseling, I have them actually rate their japa from a 0 to 10, you know, as the quality of their japa for that day, and then actually track and see what was my day like, you know, and you will find, I guarantee, that things go better with japa. good japa. Things go better with good japa. You will find that if you chant attentive, focused japa, your day, you will be less affected by the modes of material nature and the energy that comes at you in your job or at, from your children or your spouse, and you'll be much more grounded. I guarantee it. Try it. Do an experiment. Prabhupada used to tell us to experiment with the holy name. We used to tell people, do this for 2 weeks, chant, we used to tell them 16 rounds, right away. We would tell me, chant 16 rounds for 2 weeks, and then see what happens. And we made devotees like that. People would do it, and they were moving into the temple. It was pretty incredible. So should we go to should we do some japa together? Or do you want to do some japa together? Whoever wants to stay.
We want to hear the crying.
Okay, so we're gonna cry together.
See how it's supposed to.
Yeah.
Wait, I have one quick question. I'm sorry,
Okay.
I should have asked. Okay, so I heard you talking about crying japa, and I've been experimenting with it.
Yeah, I gave her a sneak preview.
Okay. Sorry, guys. But sometimes, I guess it's kind of the experimenting thing that I maybe need to try, but I feel like with my mindset, it's I have to do things in a formulated way, not an emotionally formulated way, but okay, this works, and then, but sometimes when I feel like I'm crying out, which I feel like most of the time it's really, really helpful to me, but sometimes I feel like I'll stress myself out, and then I won't be hearing.
Yeah,
And
you don't
how
want
to
to be
deal
doing
with
that. Yeah, you don't want to be doing it like that. But just like that, I think the thing with the child crying for his mother, it's very rhythmic, isn't it? I mean, if they go on for hours, it's a very rhythmic thing. It's not like this, it's not frenetic, and maybe that's what I'm thinking, that maybe that was kind of, you're getting kind of frenetic with it, and so to just that rhythmic and, Krishna, oh Krishna, oh Krishna, oh Radha, oh Krishna, oh Radha, oh Krishna, oh Radha, please help me, that kind of, just that, and I just find it's helps when I do this. It's really powerful. I mean, I can say it makes a difference in my japa than just trying. I mean, I've done a lot of workshops and did japa retreats for a couple years. With we had all kinds of things that we threw out there for people to try. But this this is just something that I've just started doing recently, and I'm just finding it's really powerful for me personally. So I wanted to share it because whenever we find something that works for us, we want to tell other people about it. And it may not work for you. It might be like, wow, it's too it's stressing me out too much. I can't do this crying out. Yeah. So I'm just saying that. So I'm not saying this is the answer. Everybody's got to find your own way through japa. It's really not one size fits all. It's just not like that. And like David heard you so nicely put, sometimes you have to try, do something for a while, and it really works and really helps. And then you find that it becomes too rote after a while. So then you have to change it. All right, so everybody get your beads out.
You're supposed to teach Mridanga soon here?
Are you supposed to? Yeah.
Is it here or?
I don't know.
I think it's at the 10th.
Is it at the tent? And so are we taking his spot too?
I don't know.
Well, who's anyone here going to take them?
I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna go walk up there.
Yeah, go out and then
There's no
find out.
Ardanga present anyway, right?
You guys cry.
Okay, we'll cry. Well, we'll cry for Mitra while you're gone.
One thing that
I want Mitra. I want Mitra. I want Mitra.
one thing at one seminar, I don't think it was you speaking, it was someone else.
It's a good thing.
They asked, "Are you satisfied with your japa the way you're doing it?" And everyone was like, "Do you feel you could do better?" And okay, so how do you want to chant japa? And so everyone talked about it. Okay, so now chant japa the way, for one round, the way you want to chant japa for the rest of your life. So I'll just drop that in your hand.
Drop that and just leave a nice little nugget.
I hope it doesn't cause stress, though.
Okay.
But it's just one more little trick.
One more thing, exactly.
One more little thing, like, okay, I'm going to be doing this the rest of my life. how do I want to be doing it? Okay, right now, let's just say right now I'm gonna set the course. I'm gonna do it right now the way I want to do it the rest of my life.
Very nice.
Like
Very
a
nice.
love
And
song.
I bet that was from Vaishesha.
No,
It
I don't
wasn't?
remember
It
who it
wasn't?
was. But I remember
Sounds
we
like
were
a
in
Vaishesha.
Georgia.
Sounds like a Vaishesha.
We were in Georgia.
Okay, I can't help you with that.
Satchidananda Swami, Giriraj Swami.
Oh yeah,
Rajalila.
Rajalila, yeah. Yeah,
What's
yeah.
his name? German guy that used to run the Bhakti Center.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
Yogi
Purusha, yeah, Yogi Purusha, yeah.
I don't remember any of them saying. I forget who.
It wasn't me. Yeah, I
Mahatma
didn't do
was
that
there
job.
too,
No,
wasn't
I
he?
don't think he was.
No, he wasn't there. That.
Archana, I can only think of one place in Prabhupada's books where he mentions that, you know, when you chant, you use the lips and you use the tongue.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I can't remember ever reading anything where he speaks about the mechanics of chanting. Can you think of anything, other references?
You know, there's this wonderful book that we're going to give as a gift to everybody who came today. Yes, this is a gift for your participation, and this is really nice because, yeah, Śrī Devi actually compiled this. It's all Prabhupada's words about chanting, and there's things about chanting japa, and there's a whole chapter on chanting japa and things that he pulled out that Prabhupada had said. So that, yeah, I mean, Prabhupada said that about the crying of the child, and yes, he did say that we should move our lips, the
loud
lips, and
enough, he said,
yeah.
so that others can hear you and you hear yourself.
Yeah, and the thing, you know, with japa, actually, japa really means soft, you know, soft for only you to hear. But Prabhupada had us really doing kirtan, in a sense. I mean, the japa, we would say loud chanting, you know, is
Like,
Haridas Thakur would chant 182 rounds a day, and he would chant 1/3 of those rounds. He would chant manasa in the mind, and 1/3 of the would be japa, soft, very soft, just for himself to hear, and then the last would be loudly chanting, and that's what we did.
I thought it was the opposite. I thought silent was the end.
That's what I thought.
Because it's the hardest.
It's the hardest,
Right.
but he would, I don't know, maybe he,
Okay.
oh, you mean that he did
The
them
order.
in that order.
Order.
Yeah,
Okay.
that may have been, but just the fact that he did a third and a third and a
Right.
third. So all are bona fide ways, but I would say that to really be able to be successful at chanting in your mind, you know, you really have to be at root to be able to do that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you have to have a real taste for the chanting. Otherwise, I don't know what's going on there, because that's a really high thing to be doing. Yeah.
So if anyone's the least bit romantic and they used to like love songs, then you know there's an ultimate love song, and I think to this day it was on the #1 on the charts when it was out, the longest any single has ever been out, and it was from the Robin Hood movie that Kevin Costner did, and the chorus line is basically, you know it's true, everything I do for you, you know, and then and you know and it basically, and then there's at one point where it said, I die for you, you know, it just has all the elements in there if you just take out the idea of the material love.
Yeah,
and so then it's like, you know, what's the one thing I can do without faking it? Because it is hard. I'm thinking, how can I cry if I don't actually feel like crying?
That's why you
all
cry.
I can
You
do
cry,
is I can
cry,
is
but I
can
can't
find,
cry.
all I can do is find the mood that I desire and express the desire, and then eventually if I get enough in that mood and it's so intense that I can't think of anything else, and yet I still don't have it, then I could probably get to the point where I'm open enough to cry, because otherwise all these other desires are, you know, are saying, hey, it's okay, you got other things that'll keep you busy and keep you okay.
Well,
just
that's the
'cause
thing. Okay, you put all those desires down and you turn them over to Krishna, and you cry to Krishna to take care of them.
Yeah.
You know, fulfill my desires in such a way, Krishna, that I can really just love you. I mean, it's so again, you start from where you're at. You know, Krishna says whether you're full of material desires or you have no material desires, or you want liberation, you know, come to me. You know, so you come to Krishna with all your material desires. Krishna tells you to do that in the Bhagavatam. Okay, so we're going to do a little crying japa, right? Everybody ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And really guys joining us for crying japa, right? Thank you. So should I demonstrate how I cry? Is everybody like waiting?
You sing.
I
You do. Some people sing. Your husband pinches you first?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, my dear Lord. You know, I always start off with some kind of a prayer. My dear Lord, please, let my heart just be, and my mind be focused on you, and allow me to really have a good session of connecting with you today. And, if my mind's wandering, just please help me and let me cry for you and let me connect to you. Something like that. You're setting an intention. It's prayer. You're starting. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna
Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. I now want you to try to go at your, that's where, no one's going to chant that slowly. So now I want you to do your crying japa at your own pace, like the pace that you normally chant your japa. That's going to be a little hard to do, but maybe we'll chant a little softly, but really trying to, in the crying, calling out mood. Okay.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna
want to share anything from that? Anybody feel anything different? It's powerful. So we need, yeah, be in a group, of crying together in a group. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. It's really.
It always reminds me of a hive of bees. Like when I first walked into the temple in Alachua, whoa! It sounded like there was an active beehive, and people were just furiously chanting and chanting and chanting. So it always just kind of reminds me of like a bunch of busy bees going to work, doing what they're supposed to do, you know.
Did anybody try the actual crying, feeling like they were doing the crying and feel anything different from that? The emotional, did anybody have an experience with that?
Well, I realized that I already do it
Okay.
sometimes, but I don't do it on purpose. It just, when I get really concentrated, it just kind of naturally happens. But I'm not aware of it being that. But
Yeah,
now it makes sense.
And you can get yourself more concentrated by starting off like that. And so even maybe a little, you know, you may not be feeling it so much, but you just keep doing it, and it's powerful. Anyway, just something to experiment with. Next festival, everybody can come back and say, yeah, we can go over this and see how's our japa improved. I mean, it's like really we need a sangha for, you know, encouraging one another with this practice, because this is our foundational practice, and all, you know, I can say that our advancement very much is rooted in the way that we approach this practice. So
it might be nice one day to talk about the interplay between faith and works, or faith and practice, because with a lot of the Christian background, and even now out there where there's more opportunities, it seems, to preach to Christians who are perhaps reconsidering or whatever, a lot of emphasis out there is on the faith being what actually saves you, and the works being kind of like what you're expected to do to show that you're, you know, a Christian, but that doesn't actually save you. It's the faith alone that saves you. And what I've been trying to find a way to do is explain the practical value of bhakti, not simply like, oh, you got to do it because you have faith, but look, if you put it into practice, then you get practical benefits on the material plane as a bonus to what, you know, as a precursor to what you're going to eventually get. And because that seems to be more of the way that spirituality is headed now in the Western world, is where's the practical value? What am I getting out of it? How can I put it into practice? And so people are just drawing from all sorts of things, because there's not one thing except there is bhakti, but they don't know about bhakti. So
yeah. It's like if you ask somebody, you know, about their path, and you ask them, well, what's the goal? What's your sadhya? And then you say, well, what's your sadhana? How are you going to achieve that goal? Mm-hmm. And then we have our sambandha gyan, our knowledge that supports the practice. And so it's an interplay. And mercy, yes, bhakti is a path of mercy, but it's also the endeavor for mercy. So we could say that our endeavor is for the mercy. You know, it's like Mother Yashoda, the two fingers, you know, that the rope was two fingers too short, and one finger was mercy, stands for, you know, because she was endeavoring to tie Krishna up. And so then Krishna saw her endeavor, and then he gave her the mercy and allowed her to tie him up. And so that's the two fingers. They play together, but the endeavor is to get the mercy. Krishna sees Mother Yashoda endeavoring, and perspiring, and the flowers falling from her hair, and she's so determined because she doesn't want Krishna to run away, and so he's very pleased by that. So Krishna sees us crying every morning, you know, we're endeavoring, we're really making it, you know, Krishna, I don't have a taste for this, but I want a taste. I know how important this is, and he sees that every day, and one day you're going to get this experience that's going to blow your mind, you know, or maybe you've already had that experience that was going to blow your mind, but it will keep happening. You do more and more. So we just have to, we just have to keep, that endeavor. Yes, we have to endeavor every day, but know that it's only by mercy. Our endeavor isn't, we can't force Krishna to make it happen. It's not like if I do it like this, I'm going to get this result. It's not like that. But we do it, and we're like the Chitaka bird, or that only takes rain from the rain cloud. Is it the Chikora bird that does that? The one takes the moonbeams, one takes the water. I think maybe it's a Chitaka bird. And anyway, that bird will not take water from any place but that rain cloud, that blue rain cloud. So we have to be like that bird, just waiting for the raindrops of Krishna's mercy. And we're not going to go anywhere else for this water. We're going to only get our satisfaction from that blue rain cloud. And that's it. And that's where we have to be that determined and know that there's no other path, there's no other thing in our life that's going to bring us the happiness that we seek. There's nothing else that will do it. So I want to give everybody a book for having participated. Really appreciate that you came. And this is very nice book. This first one here. You want to pass these out?
Can I pass them around?
Yeah, you can pass them
Can
around.
you autograph mine?
Can I autograph yours? I didn't write it.
I know. but you gave the class.
You're so cute. Ananda Go Pocket's the cute awards for the workshop.
I got the mercy. What can I say?
Jim,
That's for you.
Oh, should I just pass it along?
Domino probably already has one of these, I'm sure, because you had Shrutadev stay at your house, and he had these books.
Yeah, so many
books.
How many more do we need?
I already have one.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else need a book? Okay. All right. Well, you guys were great. That was fun.
Jai.
Devotee Sangha ki jai. What a wonderful thing to get to do on Lord Nrsimha's appearance.
You gotta get a picture of everybody's bead bag in a circle, like doing the fist bump.
Bead bump.
Wait,
this is the
Japa
Japa buddies.
Japa for buddies forever.
Yeah, we gotta get a picture. Everybody all with
Who's
the.
taking the? Oh,
You're serious, aren't you?
Yeah, he's serious.
Yeah, I ain't fooling. I'm always serious. Stuff like this. Come on, get your bead
You
bag.
never joke around. You never joke around.
Okay, come on, everybody. Let's
Get your bead bag in the circle, and you got to get a wide angle or something. Somehow get everybody's faces. Maybe you'll want to be over there. Get everybody's in there all touching.